Be honest, I wasn't expecting any like John Wick content for like a while because we
Yeah,
saw John Wick this year.
yeah.
We saw John Wick 4 this year, so the whole Continental spin-off series, I was thinking like 2024, like end of 2024 or around this time. But like seeing that they
Yeah, they
already
must have
have that,
filmed this at the same time, at least, or at least like right after or something.
maybe after like production of John Wick 4, they're just like, let's get it going. Like
Because I
right
think
after
I, I
that's
think
done.
as far as the John Wick movies go, once they got the second one going, it was like back to back. I think filming.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like they got done with the second one, and like right back to it with the third one. So right back to it with the fourth one. So they were probably just doing it back to back to back.
Do you think that actually, you know what? I don't want to get into it too much. We're just gonna watch it and see because I do have something I want to touch on, but my question might be answered from this.
A suit doesn't make a man. I haven't finished my drink.
Listen, your brother stole something from me.
Oh,
Sharon, show our guests the door. How are we supposed to believe a guy in an ascot can pull this off?
It's a cravat. This is more than vengeance. This is justice. And away we go.
okay.
Looks good.
It looks fire. See, this is why I said let me just watch it because my question might be answered. So this is what I originally was thinking to ask was will this Continental spin-off series give us any type of hey, this is what's going to happen into the future of the John Wick franchise, or was it going to be something completely different? It still is within the world of John Wick, but it's a Winston origin story.
Yeah.
I like it. As soon as he said Winston, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, because like that first line he has was like, "I haven't finished my drink," or like the way he said it comes off as kind of weird. But then once they reveal who it is, then you're like, "Oh yeah, that's definitely something you would say
Mm-hmm.
in that same manner." But
I
so it
like it.
seems like this is about Winston and the start of the Continental,
Yeah.
because you notice in that Continental all the assassins and stuff, they're allowed to just kill, I guess. Like people, they're actually doing their business in this Continental. So it seems like in the future, whenever he gets a hold of the Continental as his own, he makes it to where this is where nobody can conduct business.
Right. So basically, the Continental was not a safe place.
Yeah, it wasn't like a
And
little safe house or safe zone
mm,
from
okay.
attacks or whatever.
Yeah. So I think that's real nice because he's basically just trying to take it over and
Mm-hmm.
make it what he wants it to be. So
It looks really good.
that's
The action
interesting.
looks promising.
And that's what John Wick really has been iconic for is the action, like the
Mm-hmm.
over exaggerated long fight scenes and just the creativity within the fight scenes. And it looks like they still have that.
Yeah.
It's a three-part series, well, three-part event. So I guess they're gonna drop. They said September 22nd that they're gonna drop, and I guess what maybe release one every month after that. I mean, that would be the best thing to do.
What, an episode?
Yeah, because if it's a three-part event, are they making like three episodes or what is it? How do they have that
Oh
planned out?
yeah. Um, I don't
I mean,
know.
to keep the fans engaged, what I would do, and this is me just trying to market the Continental, I drop it once a month, trying to kind of just drag it out, get people involved in it. Because let's say, for example, Peacock, this would be the dumbest thing that they do, in my opinion. Peacock drops all three. People forget about it in like 2 weeks.
I know Netflix has done stuff like that,
I think
where
the Netflix should stop that.
they've dropped, because they don't really do week to week things. They do, like very, very, very few shows
It's like
do
an
week to week.
original.
But most of the time, yeah, they drop everything. But they have done like 3-part series where it's literally just 3 parts, but they'll drop it all together or something like that.
I don't
Like
think they should do
like the Dracula series they had on there.
that.
Um, yeah, it was a 3-part series, really good series though, but just 3 parts. They dropped it all at once. So you pretty much just can binge it all in a day. That's what I did.
I just feel like you can't really get people, or at least more people, that may not know the franchise like that, or just haven't really given it a chance to be like invested in it. Let's say, for example, they do drop only one part September 22nd, right?
Mm.
When they do that, depending on how good it does or it doesn't, let's say if it does good, people are like, man, you got to watch that, blah, 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 blah. And for people that haven't watched the John Wick franchise, right, they can still watch this. That kind of gives them an idea on like, oh, okay, this is what John Wick is basically about. It's still something different. So that way, when they go and they see John Wick for the first time, they kind of already know what to expect, but it's still a breath of fresh air to them because it's a new character with a new story.
Yeah.
And they have a
So
character like Winston where they're like, oh yeah, this Winston, what?
it would also work out a lot better too if it's like they started it off as a 3-part series and then continue 3 more parts later on or something like that.
Yeah.
Or this maybe could just be their way of just testing how a John Wick universe would be as a television show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's just make it 3 parts, flesh out the story as much as possible, and then just kind of do it that way.
I think it would be nice because let's say if they try to expand the world of John Wick, which they have a very interesting universe that they created based off of, how successful the movies are and how invested we are in those movies. They've made a really great universe already with like its own logic, how everything is supposed to work in that set universe. It almost could go the same route as like Star Wars, because Star Wars, they're still technically kind of creating a universe, for us to see more stuff, right? Like we can only read so much comics, we can only read so much things. But for like John Wick, this could be one of those things to where if we want a brand new universe that's going to start expanding, if the Continental does successful, that could be the segue into expanding the world of John Wick. Then it doesn't even have to be John Wick anymore. Then it could be like other Continentals in different parts of the world, and you could see that person's story. It's like it's a possibility to do that, and I think all the movies are great. All right, they had 4 John Wick movies. All the movies are great. So coming into this, there are super high expectations. All right, and if they stay within those expectations and don't fall underneath, this could be the next big thing.
The thing that's interesting about the 4th one too is that they introduced a lot of like very likable characters, like the blind guy,
Well, let me see. Let me check
the
his name.
Japanese guy that owned the Japanese Continental,
Yeah,
and then the
Hiroyuki Sanada.
yeah, and then the tracker from the 4th film.
Oh,
Dog,
Mr. Nobody.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mr. Nobody. Yeah.
he was fire.
So like and the girl, the daughter of the Japanese guy.
Okay, so the daughter's name is Akira.
Akira. Okay.
Donnie Yen played Kane, and Hiroyuki. Let me see if I can find him. He played Shimazu Koji, and yeah. Well, on here, the Mr. Nobody, his name is Tracker according to Google, but Mr. Nobody sounds cooler.
Yeah. So like they've already like came up with like 4 very likable characters, and I feel like they could branch off either with those characters or just one of them at least. Like I would like to see where the tracker comes from, and his story, or going forward, from the 4th movie.
Even
Or
if he gets a mini series.
Yeah, or even the blind guy.
Donnie
Um,
Yen, yeah.
so and didn't he say like in the movie like he wasn't always blind? He had like he gave up his sight or something like that.
Yeah, to like keep his daughter alive, I think.
Yeah.
Because remember at the end he was sitting in like a courtyard or whatever and his daughter was playing the violin.
Mm-hmm.
So he was there. Another thing that they can do, I'm pretty sure Lawrence Fishburne would be open to it to kind of like have a little bit of stuff that we could learn more about him.
Either
I don't
that
know.
or his little underground world.
Yeah, his little underground world. That's how I couldn't quite think. I don't know why I just thought he was a bum, but he had a little underground society.
Yeah.
Who's the Russian? Who's the Russian woman where she always calls him? Uh, she always calls him something Donnie, John Donnie or something. Katia. Let me
Jardani.
see. Jadani.
Yeah, yeah.
The Russian girl, like her type of thing, where it was the guy who was like, "My name is Klaus," and he like would slap the dude in the face. He would slap John in the
Yeah,
face.
because I guess his Russian-born name was Jardani
Jadani.
Wikovich or something.
Yeah, so they
Or
they
something
could
like
do
that, yeah.
something. They could do something on her too. That
Yeah.
whole thing. That's what I'm saying. Like they have thing. They already have stuff set up
They already
based
have
off of
like
the
so
four
much
movies.
lore within, just 4 movies. There's so much background. And
Yeah,
like we could even get like a young John Wick story where it's like, him
before
before his
everything.
retirement and everything, with
Hmm.
obviously probably with a different actor who's, just as good as Keanu Reeves.
Hmm. No, that would be super nice. Okay, I'm a little bit confused. What happened to Halle Bailey's character? Halle Berry. I don't know why I said Halle Bailey. Halle Berry's character. What happened to her character in three? Just
She
dropped
didn't
off.
she didn't die, but she's
Just gone. That's all I
I
remember.
think well, I think the fourth movie had nothing to do with her, at least.
Hmm.
Like she paid her ledger or
Right.
her little deal thing, because remember they had like those little thumbprint deals with the
Right.
blood.
Uh huh.
Um, so she finished her end of the deal with John. So I think in the fourth movie is also a different setting completely.
Hmm.
Uh, so I think she just had nothing to do with that story. I think she's just kind of doing what she was doing before and just kind of living,
Living her life.
yeah, with her
Right.
dogs. It would be nice to see her story too as well, like an
Hmm.
origin story or something.
I even think so the guy who plays Mr. Nobody is Shamir Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could go for a miniseries.
Yeah,
I think he'd be game for a
because
miniseries.
honestly, he was my favorite character from the fourth movie.
Yeah. I don't know why, but he just looks so
Very
much.
relatable, very likable,
Hmm.
and he was a badass, and with his
With his shotgun. Well, not a
yeah,
shotgun. It was more like
with
a
a
like.
lever action.
Yeah, I like that, and the dog
Yeah,
too.
yep. And I like the
Love the
little
dog.
backpack thing he had where he flipped it over and became
Like a
a
bulletproof vest.
a body
Yeah,
armor. That's was
that was
fire.
fire. Mm. I like that they're keeping Lance Reddick's character um alive a little bit. Obviously, it's a before story, but
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah,
Sharon. I
yeah.
like that they still have him in there. Somebody young to play him. So that's super nice. But like going back to what we said, there's so much lore that they've already established in the John Wick universe that I think they're doing the right thing by testing something like this out with the Continental coming out to
Mm-hmm.
where if it does successful, because at the end of the day, it has to be good. Because if it's trash, that's not a good sign. But if this ends up being good, there could be more Continental stories, right? And I think that this is the start to something that's, it's something new. It's not Marvel, it's not DC, it's not Star Wars. Like it's a new universe, bro, with
Yeah.
like new faces, and you can get it gives you a chance to fall in love with brand new characters, right? So you can like Mr. Nobody is a character you really like and you want to see more of him. So if he pops up in a movie, you're kind of like, oh yeah, there we go. We don't have to, see all the stuff that we've been seeing all the way throughout our lives. We don't need to see any more of the Spider-Mans. No, don't get me wrong, I love Spider-Man. We don't need to see any more of the Batmans. We don't need to see any more of that. Just give us something new. And this is a great thing that they're doing. I'm behind on it. Out of let's do little predictions. 1 out of 10 prediction. How good do you think the Continental would be based off trailer alone?
Trailer alone, I think it'd be 8.
I was just about to say that. I was about to say 8.
Yeah.
Guess we leave it off on that.